LeBron always moved strange, not like Kobe. And when the Diddy stuff came out, I knew I was right all along. That's why I chose to mentor Kobe.
LeBron's always moved in a way that raised eyebrows. Nothing like Kobe. You caught that, right? Michael Jordan didn't just toss a little shade. He's been flat out letting the world know he never liked or respected LeBron James. And today, we're breaking down the full story behind MJ's beef with LeBron, from how he laughed off that chosen one hype to why Kobe got the mentorship LeBron never touched. And wait until you hear the wild connection Jordan exposed between LeBron and Diddy. This goes way deeper than you think. If you know Jordan, then you know competitiveness wasn't just in his blood, it was his entire identity. People call him the most ruthless winner in NBA history, and they mean it. He didn't just want to win games, he wanted to embarrass his opponents, rip their confidence apart, and leave them broken on the floor. That kind of fire doesn't just vanish when you retire. It sticks with you, shaping how you see anyone who dares step into your lane. So picture this. It's 2002. Jordan's sitting back watching the media lose their minds over some high school kid from Akron, Ohio. LeBron James is on the cover of Sports Illustrated before even touching an NBA court, stamped with the title, The Chosen One. Reporters were already whispering that this teenager might be the guy to dethrone Michael himself. Now, to you and me, that might sound like hype. But to Jordan, that wasn't just a compliment to a kid, that was a direct challenge. A shot at the empire he built brick by brick. 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, a sneaker empire that turned into global culture, and a brand that still prints money decades later. So when the cameras and journalists crowned LeBron before his first NBA dribble, Jordan wasn't sitting courtside clapping, he was seething. He was irritated because to him, greatness wasn't something you just get handed on a glossy magazine cover. It was something you bled for, earned the hard way, brick by brick, season after season, through bruises, losses, and battles that tested your soul.
LeBron always moved strange, not like Kobe.
Jordan came into the league back in 1984, where he had to claw his way through the bad boy Pistons, deal with critics saying he shot too much, and prove himself year after year until 6 championships and global icon status finally screamed louder than any headline ever could. If you want proof of how personal this was, just look at his Hall of Fame speech in 2009, the biggest night of his career. Instead of standing there with a smile, graciously thanking everyone, Jordan used the stage to air out old scores with coaches, players, and executives who crossed him. That's the kind of man he is. Jordan keeps receipts forever. So when the media crowned LeBron as the heir apparent before he even laced up in the NBA, you better believe Jordan filed that away deep in his mental vault. Even LeBron himself has admitted how cold the relationship is. On the Pat McAfee show in 2025, LeBron flat out said this: "MJ is my idol, the guy whose posters were on my wall growing up, and there's no relationship between us at all. For a superstar as respected as LeBron, that's not normal. Legends usually get welcomed into the circle." Jordan gave Kobe that bond, that brotherhood, but LeBron? He never got it. And here's the kicker. The very things fans loved about LeBron, the hype, the headlines, the anointing, were the exact things that made Jordan ice cold toward him. To Jordan, those weren't signs of greatness, they were red flags flashing bright. And it only gets deeper from here, because the truth is, this was never just about 2 players, it was about an entire legacy war brewing. This was never just about 2 guys dribbling a basketball. It was about something way bigger. The empire Jordan built, the throne he guarded with his life, and the legacy he swore nobody would ever rewrite. Michael Jordan didn't just dominate basketball, he reshaped the meaning of being a global sports icon. Before Jordan, NBA stars were big. Sure, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird lit up the league in the 80s, but they weren't worldwide superstars. Jordan came in and changed the entire game. He wasn't just a player, he became a full-blown brand. Think about it. The Air Jordan sneakers are still the hottest kicks in the world decades after his last game. Gatorade had kids everywhere chanting, "Be like Mike" on playgrounds. Space Jam turned him into a movie star, and every dunk contest, every finals moment, every championship celebration, it all became part of the myth. Jordan created the blueprint for modern celebrity athletes long before Instagram or TikTok could ever hype them up. That's why LeBron's arrival was so sensitive, because this wasn't just about stats. It was about protecting an empire Jordan had built with sweat and obsession. So when the media screamed that LeBron might surpass MJ, Jordan didn't hear hype. He heard danger. And here's the truth about Jordan. He's obsessed with legacy. Other players retire, fade out, and move on. But not MJ. He never stopped caring about the rankings, about being called the GOAT. You see it in interviews. The moment anyone even hints that another player might be better, Jordan tenses up, gets defensive, and slides in that reminder. 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, undefeated in the biggest stage. Now imagine how he felt when a teenager was being crowned the next him before proving a single thing. Jordan has never been shy about smashing threats. If a young player came at him, he humiliated them. Remember when rookie Allen Iverson crossed him up and Jordan came back dropping 55 points as payback? Or when people dared compare Clyde Drexler to him in the '92 finals and MJ torched him until there was no doubt who the king really was? That's the Jordan mentality. Erase the competition before they even get close. Yeah, that was Jordan's mentality. Nobody got to breathe his airspace unless they fought tooth and nail for it, and even then, he'd remind you who ran the kingdom.
Leroy Smith was a guy, when I got cut, he made the team on the varsity team. But he started the whole process with me because when he made the team and I didn't, I wanted to prove not just to Leroy Smith, not just to myself, but to the coach who actually picked Leroy over me. I wanted to make sure you understood you made a mistake, dude.
With LeBron, he couldn't flex that dominance on the court because their careers barely overlapped. So instead, Jordan drew the battle lines through the media. Anytime reporters asked about LeBron, MJ gave just enough respect to sound polite. But it was cold, distant, and calculated, like he was keeping LeBron at arm's length on purpose. When the question of successors came up, Jordan would nod to rings and then pivot straight to Kobe. That was his not-so-subtle way of saying, "This guy? He doesn't get to sit at my table." And that's exactly why the infamous Sports Illustrated Chosen One cover got under his skin so bad. To really understand it, you've got to look at how different their journeys were. Jordan wasn't chosen, he was doubted. As a sophomore, he was cut from his varsity team, left embarrassed while other kids got the shine. At North Carolina, he had to fight just to get minutes behind older players. Even when he entered the NBA in 1984, he wasn't the golden boy. He went 3rd overall, behind Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie. His entire career started with doubt, disrespect, and obstacles that hardened him into a monster on the court. Now compare that to LeBron. The hype around him was unlike anything the league had ever seen. ESPN was broadcasting his high school games like they were the finals. His gym was packed out with celebrities before he even got his diploma. By the time the 2003 NBA draft rolled around, Nike was ready with a $100 million contract. ESPN was already calling him the face of basketball, and Jay-Z himself was courtside treating him like royalty. The comparisons to MJ didn't take long. And to Jordan, every headline felt like someone chiseling away at his throne. LeBron came in rocking number 23, the sacred number Jordan made legendary, and signed a $90 million Nike deal before even stepping on an NBA court. Add the nickname King James to the mix, and it looked like the entire world was crowning him the next Jordan without him earning a single stripe. And here's the thing, Jordan's competitiveness wasn't just about beating you on the floor, it was about control. He wanted to control his legacy, control the story, and control who even had the right to breathe in the same conversation as him. Even years later, Jordan couldn't resist throwing shade at LeBron. Every interview, every sly comment, every cold jab was another reminder, "You're not me." And that's why the Sports Illustrated Chosen One cover wasn't just hype. To Jordan, it was an attempted coup. It felt like somebody was trying to snatch his throne before he had even finished polishing it. And in his mind, there was only one player worthy of being called his basketball heir. Not LeBron, never LeBron, it was Kobe Bryant. Foul all day long, spun all the way around, and got you. If Jordan's made anything clear, it's that his true little brother on the court wasn't LeBron James. It was Kobe. And once you look at it, the reasons aren't hard to see. First off, personality. Kobe was wired almost identically to Jordan. Cold, ruthless, obsessive. He didn't care about being liked. He wanted to be feared. He didn't care if his teammates hated him for taking 40 shots. If it meant winning, he'd do it without blinking. That nasty cutthroat drive, that was Jordan's DNA to the core. When Jordan looked at Kobe, he saw himself, a mirror image of that same savage hunger. But LeBron's game was different. His whole style was about making the right basketball play, a pass-first superstar, the guy who would rather find the open man than force up the shot. To the average fan, that looks unselfish. But to Jordan, it looked soft. But to Jordan, that pass-first style looked like softness. In his world, the alpha dog always takes the shot. No excuses, no hesitation, no mercy. And that's where Kobe came in different. Kobe didn't just study Jordan, he copied him. The footwork, the fadeaway, the mannerisms, the walk, even the way he spoke to reporters. It was all modeled straight from MJ's playbook. There are interviews where Kobe flat out admitted he'd call Jordan at all hours of the night just to pick his brain. He wanted the secrets, the moves, the counters, the mentality. That obsessive hunger is what won Jordan's respect. LeBron, on the other hand, never chased Jordan's approval like that. He idolized him, sure, but his path was different. LeBron wanted to be LeBron, not the next Jordan. And because of that, the bond never formed. And then there's the emotional side, the part you can't fake. When Kobe tragically passed in 2020, Jordan's tribute at the memorial was raw and unforgettable. He called Kobe his little brother. And for one of the coldest competitors in sports history, he cried openly in front of the world. That wasn't performance. That was real love, built over years of late-night calls and shared mentality. LeBron never had that kind of intimacy with MJ. There's respect, sure, but it's always been respect from a distance. No mentorship, no guidance, no big brother, little brother connection. And that silence between them? It speaks louder than words ever could. Because this was never just about playing style or personality. Jordan has always been hyper-aware of legacy. To him, Kobe wasn't a threat. He was an extension of the Jordan way. Brutal competitiveness, win-at-all-costs mentality, a reinforcement of the myth. But LeBron? LeBron represented something completely different. He stood for player empowerment, forming friendships across teams, speaking on politics, and rewriting what it meant to be a superstar in his own era. And to Jordan, that wasn't following the blueprint. That was tearing up the script. Jordan was the guy who carefully guarded his image, avoided controversy, and kept everything about winning during his playing days. So when LeBron started leading in a different way, speaking up, empowering players, using his voice outside the court, it probably felt foreign to Jordan, maybe even threatening. That's why, even now, you'll hear MJ talk about Kobe with warmth, laughter, and genuine love. But when it comes to LeBron, his comments stay clipped, technical, and cold. And for LeBron, the kid who grew up worshiping MJ with posters plastered on his wall, that lack of blessing has to sting. Because in basketball, there's no crown heavier than the one Jordan wore, and no stamp of approval more powerful than his. And here's what makes it sting even more. In NBA culture, silence speaks louder than words. The greats usually pass the torch with pride. Magic Johnson turned Kobe's arrival into a full event. Kareem mentored Shaq and gave him his blessing as the next big man. Bill Russell would show up to finals games just to personally hand out trophies and dap up guys like Kobe and KG. That's how legends keep the chain going. But with Jordan...
You and Michael at a good spot.
Who, me and Michael?
Jordan?
Yeah, we're a good spot.
And if you remember, LeBron even said it himself. They don't talk. Imagine that. A grown man, the face of the league, openly admitting the guy he idolized as a kid doesn't even pick up the phone. That's brutal. And it's not like LeBron hasn't tried. He's called Jordan his inspiration, his GOAT, the reason he even picked up a basketball. But instead of support, LeBron has spent his entire career under the cold shadow of Jordan's indifference. And here's where it gets wild. The silence turned into suspicion once the Diddy rumors started flying. Because suddenly, Jordan's distance didn't just look like indifference, it started looking like confirmation. Remember that clip? Jordan saying, LeBron always moved strange, not like Kobe, before hinting at the Diddy stuff. That's when things really exploded. And before you roll your eyes thinking this is just another Twitter rumor, let's be clear. This is Michael Jordan we're talking about, a man who doesn't speak loosely. And don't forget, there's also that viral clip of LeBron on Instagram Live with Diddy laughing and saying, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." Yeah, that one. For years, whispers tied LeBron to Diddy's circle, from late-night celebrity events to casual Instagram lives like that one. At first, people brushed it off as just gossip, just noise. But the moment Michael Jordan himself referenced the Diddy stuff, suddenly it wasn't just jokes anymore. The GOAT had weighed in, and that changed everything. Let's rewind for context. Diddy's been drowning in legal trouble for years, and in 2025, it all hit the fan. Convicted on 2 counts after wave of accusations, his ex, Cassandra Ventura, publicly accused him of years of abuse and coercion, and multiple lawsuits piled up alleging assaults, exploitation, and dark behavior that went on for over a decade. Now here's the wild part. Those flashy Diddy party clips weren't just harmless celebrity fun anymore. They were connected to someone under serious legal scrutiny. So imagine the optics. LeBron on Instagram Live, laughing and joking, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party," while Jordan is watching in the background. Remember, Jordan built his entire empire on discipline, control, and carefully calculated moves. Every step he took was about legacy. So when Jordan later said, "When the Diddy stuff came out, I knew I was right," he wasn't gossiping. He was pointing out patterns through the eyes of a man who had mastered image control better than anyone. To him, LeBron's association with Diddy wasn't harmless fun. It was a red flag waving in front of the whole world. And then came the kicker. The internet pounced. Memes flew faster than a fast break, clips went viral, and fans spun the narrative that LeBron wasn't Kobe. He wasn't disciplined enough, he wasn't refined enough, and most importantly, he wasn't worthy of Jordan's mentorship. Jordan didn't even need to double down. That single reference, that one little clip, did all the heavy lifting for him. And that's when things got real. Because suddenly it wasn't just about basketball anymore, it was about reputation, power, and who the culture would crown as the true heir to MJ's throne. Even fans who defend LeBron have to admit it. When the greatest player alive looks you in the eye and says, "You don't move right," that sticks forever. But here's the thing. The tension between Michael Jordan and LeBron James doesn't exist in a vacuum. The NBA has always thrived on beefs. Honestly, half the league's history plays out more like a mixtape of grudges than a clean sports timeline. And that's why MJ versus LeBron feels so familiar. Think back to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. That wasn't just a rivalry, that was a cultural war. Showtime Lakers versus Boston Grit, Hollywood versus Hard Hats, East Coast versus Midwest Pride. Those two carried the NBA on their backs by competing like their lives depended on it. And the wildest part? They eventually became close friends. But during their prime, they couldn't stand each other. Fast forward, Isaiah Thomas and Jordan. Now that was nasty. Thomas's Pistons literally invented the Jordan rules, a defensive scheme that was basically legalized assault. MJ hated every second of it, and to this day, he still hasn't forgiven Isaiah. You saw The Last Dance. He said it with his chest like it just happened yesterday. That beef has lasted decades. And then there's Shaq and Kobe, 2 megastars on the same team, winning championships together, but still firing shots in interviews, sneak dissing on rap tracks, and airing out dirty laundry in public. That's NBA drama at its finest. And the truth is, those beefs didn't ruin their stories. They made them legendary. Because fans don't just remember the rings, they remember the tension, the chaos, the fire. So when people say Jordan doesn't mess with LeBron, it doesn't sound shocking. In NBA culture, beef is baked into the DNA. Fans expect it, media fuels it, and players know deep down that it adds to their myth. NBA beefs are like rap beefs or Hollywood feuds, always personal, even when they look professional. Rappers diss each other over beats, celebrities drop shady comments in interviews. The NBA just does it louder, messier, and way more public, and fans eat it up. Every clipped response from Jordan gets dissected like scripture. Every time LeBron praises MJ and doesn't get the same energy back, it becomes a meme. Every rumor, every cold quote, every little dig, it's another log on the fire. Drama fuels legacy, legacy fuels debate, and debate keeps the NBA machine alive. Let's be real, if everyone just got along, the league would feel like baseball with sneakers. Nobody's streaming a 2-hour documentary called "We All Played Nicely." People want the messy stuff, the grudges, the feuds, the bad blood. And in this case, the mess had real consequences. Jordan's public favoritism for Kobe over LeBron didn't just stay behind closed doors, it shaped the way millions of fans see the GOAT debate today. Because here's one thing you have to understand. In the NBA, the blessing of the previous king matters. It's like being knighted. Once the legend passes you the crown, it cements your place forever. That's exactly what Kobe got. Jordan's mentorship made him the chosen heir in a way no magazine cover or media hype ever could. Fans saw Kobe as the one carrying Jordan's torch, not because ESPN said it, but because Jordan himself proved it. He taught Kobe the footwork, he praised him publicly, and at Kobe's memorial, Jordan cried like he had lost real family. That bond made Kobe bulletproof in the GOAT conversation. LeBron never got that, and that absence shaped everything. Every time the media tries to crown him, critics throw the same card on the table. If he's really the GOAT, why didn't Jordan embrace him? And yet, here's the twist. LeBron's career is so outrageous he might be breaking through anyway. We're talking 20-plus years at the top, 4 championships, the all-time scoring record, and still dominating at age 40. Nobody in NBA history has stretched out greatness like this. So now, Jordan's refusal to give him the blessing doesn't kill the debate. It fuels it. On one side, you've got the Jordan loyalists saying, if MJ never passed him the torch, that means something. On the other side, LeBron fans point to the numbers and longevity saying, he's rewriting the rules with or without MJ's permission. And in a way, that's Jordan's worst nightmare, the idea that somebody could take the throne without his validation. When you look back at the story, the core is simple. Michael Jordan built the throne. He created the global icon blueprint every superstar chases today. And when it came time to choose a successor, he made it crystal clear it wasn't LeBron James. It was Kobe Bryant. And that's why the GOAT debate refuses to die. Because it was never just about basketball. It's about pride. It's about legacy. And it's about the one thing Jordan never gave LeBron: validation. And if you've made it this far, then you clearly love this drama as much as we do. So hit that like button, drop your hottest take in the comments. MJ or LeBron, who are you riding with? And don't forget to subscribe, because trust me, this saga is nowhere near over, and the next deep dive is going to be even crazier.